Well, hello, hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, in whatever part of the world you are watching me from. It is a beautiful Sunday evening. Some of you are relaxed, some of you are probably watching TV, and hopefully you join us now at Real Talk with E.V.E. It is a beautiful day. It's a bit cold, but guess what? We expect it. It's wintertime, so we should not be complaining. And I am just excited for who I have coming on today. She is one powerhouse. She's a busy woman, and I'm so glad and thankful that she made time for this show because she felt it was important to share this information with all of you. And I am just blessed to have known her for many years. We've worked together in the community, and I just want to let you know that this is going to be transparency. Hence the name Real Talk with EVE. This is some real talk, people. And she's going to tell you like it is. She's not going to sugarcoat it. And that is the type of shows that I like, that I appreciate. Otherwise, how are we as parents going to learn, or educators or administrators? And this goes out to all of you, to everyone that's watching this show. Please share it, invite others to watch it. As you all know, it's not about me, and it's not even about the guest either. In some cases, some yes, but it's what information I bring to this show through our experts, through our professionals. And tonight, as an advocate, I often discuss things of this type of topic um, with families because they're not educated or well versed in things like the IEP. And so I am bringing up this powerhouse, and our special guest is Martina Lozano Tovar, and she works for the government, for the state. She is one of the state agents supervisors. So I'm going to bring her up right now without further ado. Welcome, Martina. How are you?
Good, good. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Oh, I am just like blessed to know that you are here with me. And I want to thank you that you've made time to come on tonight. You and I were from time to time, we discuss special things, topics that, our community does not know or need to know. And it's like, wow, Martina, did you know? Did you know? Did I know? No, I didn't know. So I want to welcome you to Real Talk with EVE. I know that this is the first, but I'm hoping it's not the last time that I'm bringing you on, because what you do, Martina, is amazing. I just want to tell you, you have been a key instrument to our community, especially our Latino community. That, we've worked in cases, I've sent you some people, and you've educated me, say, hey, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do, or this is the type of client we serve, right? And so you are a powerful resource throughout the state of Indiana, un recurso muy importante, especialmente para nuestra gente latina. So if you're going to throw some Spanish stuff up in there, you do, but make sure you say it also in English, so that
Claro,
we can,
claro. I will.
yeah.
I will
So,
translate if I have to do both things. So,
which
pero
you are good at, and because you've been doing this for quite some time. And for those that don't know who you are, they're going to get to know you. They're going to be calling you. Is that all right that they call you, because we're going to give your information out?
no, no hay problema, not a problem. That's what
um,
we're here. We're here to help people.
yeah, thank you so much. So you are the supervisor to vocational rehab, right? Is that your title? Am I correct?
Yes.
Well,
So do
that
you want
plays
me
a
to
big
tell?
role. That plays a
Yeah.
big role. Just that title, supervisor. Cuidado.
Oh, no, no. I think the title is more than it is, but I work with we cover Lake County and Newton County. So cubrimos, así es que cubrimos lo que es el condado de Lake y Newton County, servicing families who have individuals with disabilities who are looking to maintain employment, obtain training to get employment, but they must be made eligible, determined eligible based on their functional limitations. So, nosotros proveemos servicios para las personas discapacitadas, a personas que o están tratando de mantener su empleo, buscar empleo, buscar entrenamiento para poder conseguir empleo, pero tienen que, la manera por la cual califican es que tienen que tener alguna deshabilidad, discapacidad, que los limita a sus funciones diarias, ¿verdad? Entonces, so that's what we do. That's what
No,
we try to help people with
you went right.
disabilities.
Espérame. Let me back you up for a second. You went right into your work, but people don't know who is Martina. Some of
Ah,
you may have been served with her and given her, you know, she's offered resources to you, but a lot of people may or may not know because you know what we're going to talk about is also not just statewide, but it's federal, right, Martina? So
yes.
we're going to have people, if they haven't joined us just yet, from all over the country and possibly other countries, because now we are in Instagram Live. Shout out to my IG people, and also to the X, other name Twitter, to my
Mhm.
tweeters. Welcome to Real Talk with E.V.E. This show has been going on since some time ago. It was one of my TV shows, and now we're here because we can reach more of an audience through this type of platform. And of course, I am in I don't know how many different platforms, but we just added X and IG. So welcome. So tell us, who is Martina Lozano Tovar as the person that I'm speaking to, not the professional, but ¿quién eres Martina?
That is, I think, one of the hardest things I think that we've come across with Latinos and Latinas professionally. I don't think we like to boast. We don't like talking about ourselves.
I know that's
We
the
don't.
hardest thing. Is
It's the
who is
hardest thing that it's hard for me. Um, so a little bit of my background. I actually was born and raised in Illinois, and then I graduated high school and went to college in Mexico and got a degree in Mexico in business management. Um, was there for a total of 10 years working after I graduated, between graduating and working. And then, I kind of miss my family more than anything, my parents, and just so I came back to the U.S. And started my professional career here in the U.S. After finding so many obstacles. I had experience. I was a buyer, a purchaser for Organización Soriana in Mexico. And at the
Mm,
time when I was doing that, I was responsible for buying clothes and little girls, all the lingerie department for women and little girls. So everything for anything female that covered women's lingerie, undergarments, socks, all those things for the 75 stores that they had at the time. And that didn't mean anything here in the US. 75 stores was nothing
mm,
to a super Walmart or an HEB or anybody that, a Carson Peary Scott when it was still around. It just took me a long time. It took me a couple of months to get over it that I was not going to be hired because I did not have the purchasing power
mm.
that those level of corporations has compared to Soriana in Mexico at the time. I mean, if we move forward, 20 some years now that happened to me, it's a completely different scenario now because I know a lot of former coworkers that work for Super Walmart, HEB, Electra, or any of those big like worldwide known type
Mhm,
companies now,
mhm.
Costco and Sam's Club. But back 20 some years ago, I mean, that amount of purchasing that I had, that power meant nothing here in the
Wow.
US. So I just gave in and I said, well, I know, I actually speak three languages. So I speak 100% Spanish, French, and of course English.
Ah, parlez-vous François?
Oui, je parle français.
Ah, un
Ce n'est
peu.
pas très bien, mais aussi,
Ah,
yeah.
comment t'appelles-tu?
Je m'appelle Martina Lozano Tovar.
Ah, je m'appelle Eve. Yeah, that's all I know.
What's what?
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Or qu'est-ce que tu? What time is it? I took French
Yeah,
back in
and
college
it's
for one
hard.
semester.
I mean, once you learn the language, and if you don't practice it, you forget
You
it, right?
lose
You
it.
don't
I
use
know.
it.
Well,
And
I would
so, and
love to hear more French, but let me pick up a crash course and we can talk. But I didn't know that part about you, Martina. You and I go way back from, was it Hope or before Hope? I don't know. It's been so
Yes,
long.
probably since when I came over here, I was working. Well, I moved here probably like in 1998. Yeah, in 98 I
Yeah,
moved
my
here
kids were
to
little.
Indiana.
My daughter's 25 now, and she was little. Not
Yeah.
to give everybody's age, anyone's age, but that just goes
So,
to show you that when we're community leaders, especially us Latinos or us, like you, shout out to Elena, she's also Autism Speaks of America,
mhm,
we connect and we help families out. That a family comes to me and I know what you do, that's what we do. Hey, Martina,
mhm.
can you help so and so? This is what's happening,
Sure.
right? And that's the
Yeah,
type of relationships that we all should continue to build here, right?
correct. Um, so yeah, so then I ended up, meeting somebody from Northwest Indiana, my husband. So of course he's like, well, it's less expensive to live in Northwest Indiana than to live in the north suburbs of Illinois. That kind of thing. And so, okay, fine, we will live there. And I was hired. Actually, I was working at Inland Steel at the time before it became Arcelor, or before it became Ispat Inland and ArcelorMittal, and now Cleveland Cliffs. But I worked there for a couple of years, and then I worked for another company in Chicago, and then I went to work for a nonprofit called ASE,
Ah,
Hispanic Alliance for
familiar
Career
with us.
Enhancement. And so I was there for a couple of years, and then that whole, the economy where no one was hiring, right? Nobody was hiring anybody back in 2008. So I was working with companies. If nobody's hiring, and that was my job, there was nothing to do. So so they laid me off, and I ended up doing that first diversity job fair with the Times that summer.
Wow.
With the Times newspaper and ASE, and that we kind of kicked that off, the first diversity and inclusion job fair. Back at
I
the
remember that. Oh my
when
gosh.
it was when we were still at when it was still the Ramada, right? When it was still the hotel over there in Maryville. It was like our kickoff event and a
Yeah, that was
luncheon,
the
and
place.
that was
That
the
was the
place to do
place.
things, right? And so so yes, I kind of like, started doing that, and I was still job searching at the time but that was a project I had to finish, and then I went to for Habitat for Humanity for a
I
while.
saw that. I was like, oh wow, I did not know you were with Habitat. I've also worked on some projects with Habitat for Humanity some time ago. I would
Yeah.
say about 10, 12 years
So
ago.
I was there. Yeah, I was at Habitat for a couple of years, and then I moved over to Work One, and I was working on a disability employment initiative grant, which I was on it for 3 years through the Department of Workforce Development. And so the grant ended, and I was still with the Work One offices, working with all the business entities within the healthcare industry, recruiting, doing job fairs, helping those companies identify employees, potential employees. But I there was a calling of somebody who knew my background for the current position I'm in, and reached out and said, "Hey, why haven't you applied for this position?" And I was just like, "Really? You think I?" And she's like, "Please come to the interview." And and those types of conversations that
Right,
you're like
right.
totally
Mhm.
come out of nowhere. And so yeah, so I have been there. I'm on my ninth year with vocational
Wow.
rehabilitation, and so it has brought me many blessings, I feel, being in this field. But I transitioned from corporate to nonprofit to government. So I've been through all sectors of
Wow.
industry.
You have.
um, someone the other day said, Martina, don't you want to come back to sales? Don't you miss those incentives, and don't you miss all those quotas and the traveling? And I said, part of me does, the younger part of me does,
Right, right, right.
and going to the ship conferences, the national ship conferences to recruit, and to Nishimba, and all of those big conferences across the country. I said I go for fun now. I don't go to work.
There you go.
um,
Yeah.
so but yeah, so that's how kind of that my experiences and the people that I've met along the way have led me to where I am now. And like I said, it's brought me a lot of positivity, a lot of new connections, more connections that I had before, to be able to connect people however I can, not through my just through my work, but also through the work that we do in the organization. So
So what type of work is that, Martina? I know we're talking about
yes,
vocational
yes.
rehabilitation. What is that?
Some
What is
people
it?
hear rehabilitation and right away, the mind goes to rehab, right? That it's drug rehab, it's physical rehab. No, our role in vocation is just what it says. Vocational, related to employment, related to a career path, related to a career goal. So it's about identifying the needs an individual with disabilities has, those limitations, and helping them through training, through accommodations, to be able to get to an employment of their choice, and an employment or type of job and career path that they can actually handle. So it's really it can take anywhere from a couple of months to a couple of years, particularly when we are supporting individuals who are going through post-secondary, going
Mm.
through college and graduate school, or postgraduate, after they get, some of them are working on a PhD. So it really is about us providing the path and the plan of how to get to substantial, competitive, integrated employment in the community, for them to be able to either come off of Social Security benefits,
Mm.
or not even have to look for Social Security benefits. I mean, because I don't even, honestly, I don't even want to go down that road, because that
No,
in
that's
its
another day. That's another day,
that is
another topic. But you
that is
you
totally
help
different.
people in several different aspects of what they need to find employment, but you need the services first before you go there, right?
Correct.
You deal with what other agencies, Martina, did you partner
So,
with?
we work really close with all of the special education high school departments here in Lake County and in Newton County. So across the state, vocational rehabilitation is connected through to the youth through um, the special education departments in each of the high schools. So I have the counselors are assigned high schools in my office, that they are responsible to attend those IEP meetings. Um,
Mm.
so
How
by
often
law,
are those IEP meetings? Please
yes,
let me know.
yeah. I mean, the IEP meetings really, I mean, some schools haven't really understood that by law, vocational rehabilitation should be invited to those IEP meetings, because it is the right and it is the choice of that individual and the family to decide whether or not, what path that individual, or what choices they
Mhm,
have, right?
mhm.
Employment, education, training, what is it that they're going to need? And in some instances, honestly, I mean, if we were to be invited probably to all IEP meetings in the county of Lake, um, I think that that would probably be the only work we do. So our focus is to work with those that are juniors and seniors, right? Those that are considering already graduating or completing a certificate of completion, and moving on to doing something else because they no longer want to go to high school anymore. They want to graduate with their peers. They want to leave with their peers. Because if let's say Susie Smith next door is graduating with her Core 40 diploma, and Jenny Smith here next, the girl that I'm speaking about potentially, is graduating with a certificate of completion, but they've always played, they've always been friends. She's not going to like graduating, her friend graduating, and her not. So we come across a lot of that.
Mm,
So it's not about your neighbor, it's about you. It's about
right.
what you want to do. And also, when a family feels that that their child has to graduate at 18, that is not true.
Can you
If the
say that
family,
again?
if when a family is being pushed that their child has to graduate at the age of 22, excuse me, at the age of 18, like they have to leave the high school setting. That is not true. That is not true at all. They have up until the age of 22 to be in that setting. That is by right with an IEP. So,
A lot of people
I'm,
don't know what an IEP is. Can you
yeah,
educate
okay.
those that
Yeah,
are joining
yeah.
here with us?
So an IEP is an individualized education plan. That is a plan that students with special needs it's created for them once they start high school. It gives special direction. There may be behavioral issues, and so there's a behavioral plan that comes along with that. It is a team of core individuals, all of the teachers the teachers that individual may be working with each school year, that come together to meet with the family, the legal guardians, parents, to see how this student is progressing in the school year. So there's some students that have it in middle school, but more than anything, it is primarily used in high school. I think that some families don't feel that they can't have or request an assessment for their students. That's another thing, ¿verdad?
They probably don't know. Well, no, I do know. They don't
Yes,
know that
they
they
don't
can.
know. Um, so I'm going to switch to Spanish here,
Sí, por
if you want
favor.
me.
Sí, sí.
So, estamos hablando de lo que es un IEP. El IEP es un plan individualizado educacional para estudiantes con necesidades especiales de aprendizaje dentro del área escolar. Normalmente este plan se ve en la preparatoria, o sea, en high school, y ese plan trae todas las cosas que su hijo o hija podría necesitar asistencia, ya sea para asistencia para poder ir al baño, asistencia para comer, asistencia para aprender, más que todo, ¿verdad? ¿Cómo aprender? ¿Cómo su hijo o hija aprende? Ya sea si necesita alguna persona que le esté ayudando a leer, necesita lo que le llamamos una accommodation, alguna asistencia especial, por ejemplo, un intérprete por si son sordomudos, si necesitan equipo especial para poder usar la computadora porque son ciegos. En muchos casos vemos a familias que se sienten muy capaces de enviar a sus hijos al high school especial en Indianapolis, ¿verdad? A la escuela para ciegos, a la preparatoria para ciegos, a la preparatoria para los sordomudos. So, esas dos discapacidades son las que más prevalecen dentro de lo que hacemos nosotros, porque cuando se trata de una discapacidad física, ¿verdad? Normalmente, pues sí pueden atender en una escuela particular o cerca de casa, no tienen que irse lejos a ninguna parte, ¿verdad? A menos de que tengan alguna de las otras dos, ¿verdad? Discapacidades. Entonces, en este caso, pues sí, convendría, ¿verdad? Tomar en cuenta de que pues a lo mejor les podría ayudar más irse, ¿verdad? A una escuela especializada para poder ayudarlos. Pero nosotros hemos visto, we have seen that students who have left the area to go to either the school for the deaf or the school for the blind, um, we feel they are not given the appropriate, when they come back to Lake County, they are more comfortable staying in Indianapolis
Oh, wow.
because they are familiar with the surroundings. They're familiar with it. Indianapolis has public transportation. We don't have that here, right?
We have it, just limited, but we have
Well,
some.
super limited. I mean, it's not even available. We had a student who lives in Cedar Lake who's blind, who said, "What am I going to come back to? I can't get in public transportation to go to Purdue,
Wow.
right?
Yeah,
So I need an accommodation. I need you to let me stay in Indianapolis." So we had to make an accommodation for that individual. So it's not always about what we think is correct. It's about what is going to propel that young person, right, or that adult to go to the next step, right?
Right.
Are they going to be able to work and have the training and skill set to get a job? So
Mhm. Yeah.
that's
And this,
really what we do.
so sounds like you partner with trade winds because they're the ones that find them the place to work, right?
Yes. Yes, of course. So we have several partners in the region. So Tradewinds is one of the largest that we work with. I guess we have three really large ones: Goodwill, Opportunity Enterprise, and Tradewinds. Those three are our biggest ones that we work with as agencies, as our service providers with our participants to identify and secure employment. We also work with Planning Possibilities,
Oh,
who
yes, Brad Meadows. Do you know I started with planning possibilities a long time ago with Brad? Shout out to Brad if he's watching. Go ahead. I'm sorry. These are
no, that's
common
okay.
names that are familiar to me because it just shows all the work that we have been called to do, right? If you
Yes,
will.
yes, and Planning Possibilities, they're a smaller provider, but they've got they've found their niche also. They found a niche that they've been able to help our more experienced graduated professionals with disabilities, right? So they are more into um, the connections and how they have built relationships within the community that they know to be able to place some of our higher functioning and we have engineers, computer
Mhm.
engineers, civil engineers that have been placed not just through them, but that is kind of their forte, that helping professionals that with disabilities. So but I will say that the partnerships that we have with the providers that we currently work with, it's a hard job. It's a hard job to maintain someone involved, to maintain someone active within the relationship and building that rapport with the provider themselves and with the counselor. The counselor, the counselor is the one who says yay or nay, pretty much. The counselor is the one who says
That,
that.
whew, that's
It's a
that's a
lot.
hot topic right there. That's a lot when you mention the counselors. Now, I'm not going to attack anyone or mention certain schools or certain people because you know who you are. That is a guidance counselor in a school. And I'd be like, okay.
Of
But
course.
I'm not just talking about one school because yes, I'm the board chair of a charter school in Gary. But you gotta know, I go into other schools. I uh, like when 2021, I partnered with all schools, City of East Chicago, and all the libraries in Lake County to go and test for COVID. But I have already been in the schools. I volunteer with junior achievement. I'm in the school, so I'm always looking to see how the adults react to things, how they behave, not just the students, because I go in there to motivate and empower these students. But I'm also looking, in case you guys didn't know, the adults, and I'm also looking as to what you're doing, how you're reacting to the students, how you're talking to the students, whether I hear part of the conversation, all the conversation, or I don't know the full story. There's a way to doing things, right? And so how can we hold them accountable? I know that you have probably seen and tell me this is some real talk, Martina. And I know we were talking off the air saying you're going to just, be straight up. How are we failing our students because we're not
Um,
connecting them to the right resources because
so
we are not doing what we're supposed to? I'm not saying everybody, but
well, I think that I'm not going to speak for all of them either,
right, right.
right? So, but I think what needs to happen, there needs to be a bit more direction, okay? A bit more sensitivity and empathy, right? If you know this student is failing math, right? And you still push for this student that, oh yeah, you can be an engineer in computer science and computer gaming. Well, absolutely not. Why would you say that he's good at that? He can't even pass math.
Wow. I mean, that's
And then tell them
encouraging, but you're actually setting them up for failure when they're not prepared.
they're not prepared. And then that, not just that, but then telling the parent that there's a potential for a scholarship at a local university, right, that will support them. They send them there. They're trying to be supportive. The RVR counselor is trying to be supportive of this individual, right? Giving them the benefit of the doubt. The student goes there the first semester, fails all of their classes because you offered them a scholarship. So the family is like, well, they're saying that he can do it. They're giving him a scholarship. Well, no, that's not how this works. You have to take into account with all the scholarships, and I think this goes not just to the schools, but also from the parent side. We have to be realistic, right? I know that all of us want Harvard graduates, Yale graduates, right? Princeton. I want a lawyer. I want a doctor. I want a dentist. But you know what? Some of us do not have that capability. I wanted to be a doctor. I know that I couldn't pass, like, whatever, MCAT or whatever. But the fact is that, right? It's the guidance. It's the guidance from counselors. It's the guidance from family and parents. Let's be realistic, right? What can this child actually accomplish? Provide a day, right? Freshman year, first semester and second semester, there should be providing a day of learning careers. Learn about the careers, right? At the
That's
beginning
JA
of
right there.
semester,
That's
beginning of first semester, exactly. The beginning of first semester, at the beginning of second semester, has your mind changed? Have you thought about what you saw in first semester?
mm-hmm.
Because that's what I think. I think this is the true reality will be hitting in the fall. True reality will be hitting in the fall.
Let's talk about that. I know that we were going to go over our time because this information is just so needed for all of you, school educators, administrators,
Yes.
and teachers, and guidance counselors, and parents. This is all, I call it the triangle pack, and I'm going to have to actually copyright or whatever.
Yeah,
The
probably are
child
going
is
to.
the one on top. The parent is on the other corner, and the school administrators, teachers, guidance counselors on the other corner. This is
Yeah.
how we are right now, or how it's been.
And we can't be like that. It has to be in a
The
circular
student
with
is on top, and what happens?
Yeah.
Falling between the cracks. We need to connect
So,
that. So what's happening?
yeah.
What's about to happen? That you're like warning, Will Robinson.
Well, this is a big warning, right? A big warning in the sense that, the graduation requirements are changing for high school students. So, para los padres que hablan español, los requisitos para recibirse de los 4 años de preparatoria van a cambiar van a empezar a cambiar y empiezan en el otoño de este año.
New school year. No changes.
Yeah, in the next school year, it's going to change. So, what's going to happen is that a student is going to need to know what career path they're going to be going on. Are you going to be going to 4-year college? Are you going in what profession? Like engineering, education, kinesiology to be a sports therapist, nursing, veterinarian, assistant vet. You're going to have an idea of what you want to be when you finish after those 4 years. And preparing yourself in those 4 years to be able to come out potentially with some type of credential to help you get that step ahead. Now, exactly what credential for each of those paths will be different for each student. Some student may say, you know what, I already know what I want to be. I want to be an airline pilot, and I want to get my pilot's license. I know that Purdue's the best school for pilots, right? But there's a limited amount of spaces too. So we're going to have to be very conscious about, okay, if this student is thinking about being a pilot, is there going to be space for him in 4 years when he graduates high school? Or what is he going to have to do to prepare and be ahead of everyone to get into that program, right? Graduating. So there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of work being done to prepare. So mucho trabajo, padres, para preparar a los alumnos. Mucho trabajo que se está haciendo detrás del escenario, detrás de lo que viene hacia el otoño, ¿verdad? De lo que los estudiantes tienen que prepararse.
What about, because I know there's students that don't know what they're going to do when they graduate.
They finish
Will
4
they
years.
graduate? Wait, will they graduate?
Well, that's going to be on the school then. What are you educators doing to find and assist the student on what he may potentially be good at?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When he's coming from 8th grade, right, into high school, what is he good at? Reading, math, science, social studies, right? Helping that student, is he good at art, music? Helping identify what their strong, what are their strengths? What are their strengths and where can those strengths be applied to? Through career assessments, through career inventories, right? Skills inventories, and identifying maybe the student has potential, maybe they like languages, right? Anybody working international, anything these days, you need to speak a minimum of 3 languages. Minimum.
That's what I tell all the students. We are behind.
Way behind.
In this country, we're in America. Don't speak Spanish. Well, because we're in America, we should speak Spanish, Mandarin Chinese, French, Polish, Vietnamese, Cantonese, Tagalog, name it. We are behind.
When I hear young men, young students, high school students say, "Well, I want to be a mechanical engineer because I want to go work for BMW." Do you speak German? I know we have plants in the United States, but training is done in Germany. If you are a top student and you want to work for BMW, then you better be speaking some German.
Wow.
So I think that we, as part of the assisting the education system, I really think that there needs to be something more in-depth and creative made for these students to understand that you just can't graduate with a high school diploma anymore.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
I mean, you cannot.
That graduation pathways that they started some time
Correct.
ago, that there are requirements. So educators, administrators, guidance counselors, you need to get with the program and make sure that every student has to have a pathway, whether it's a trade or a career, that they're going to college or junior college. You need to set them up for success. Yes, that's more work, but that's why you're there. You get paid to work, to do it for our students, not for you. And I'm just being transparent and very clear, Martina, because I call myself an educator by default, because I'm not a teacher, I'm not a principal, but I've been in education for so many years. I worked with the higher ed. I worked with all the school cities, East Chicago, Hammond, Gary, Maryville, Hobart, now in Cedar Lake. I mean, I see what happens. And so we cannot play that procrastination or lazy or just don't care role, because if you really don't want to commit to set our students for success, then you need to get out of that school.
And you know what? And yes, college is not for all students.
No, it's not.
Everyone has gotten that we already know that. We understand that. Parents understand, I think, that. But having a career in something is important, right? So if you want to be a cosmetologist, be the best cosmetologist. Know everything about cosmetology, not just about doing nails. Don't just be a nail tech. You need to know how to do hair, how to do facials, all of the things, so that you can set yourself up for success and you be your own business and set up your own business, so that if you need to hire other people who maybe do not have that on their career path, and are only able to handle nail tech or eyebrows, right? Or eyelashes or facials, you know how to hire and you know what type of work to expect and the quality that is needed in order for you to run your business successfully. So I think I lost you. Sorry.
There you go. All right. I felt the drop. No.
Um, so I really think that our students feel that they only focus on one thing, right? And it's not about that. You're gonna have to be having different sets of so that come and como decimos en el mandado, right? Best of the best in your skill set, in your career path, so that you are on the top of your game.
So, what's the
We can talk.
message
We
that
can talk about this all night.
I know, I'm telling you. And especially with students with IEPs that don't have an IEP. And what I mean is the kids that have not been evaluated.
Yes. So I think that's one thing I think that parents, you can't be afraid of that. You can't be afraid to ask, I need my child evaluated. Who better than a parent that knows or a guardian that sees, okay, something is wrong here. Something is not right. There's a reason my child is not passing, third grade reading, or why my child isn't passing fifth grade math. There's something else. And you can't think it's just like laziness, because that's what some parents are, they're like, well, he's just lazy. He doesn't want to do homework. He doesn't want to pay attention. There can be something else going on mentally, right? Mentally, I think and I'm gonna share this. In my role that I've been there in the 9 years, I have seen more males coming through needing services that there is something that changes in puberty. They were an A student up until like 6th grade, and then in 7th and 8th grade it started kind of like going a little bit downhill. They get to high school and a parent says, I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong. Well, that is time of the time in the moment when you see that first change. That's when you have to be alert to. And I think that we feel that, well, he's just, what, Johnny's just being lazy. Oh, he's just hanging out with his friends, or he's doing too many video games. Well, if you feel that that's the case, then you're taking away those video games, right? I think we need to be more stern about the privileges that we give our young people. A parent was telling me, she's like, oh, well, he just got a brand new but that brand new game from Microsoft, Xbox or whatever. That's like a portable video game thing. I'm like, okay, if you knew that he's not cleaning his room, if you know that he's not showering, if you know that he's not doing laundry, and he's quite capable of doing it, why would you buy him a $300 video game? Why? Why do we do that? Because it's Christmas? I'm sorry. Everything has privileges. Everything has a privilege. And if you are not doing your duties, then you don't get that. I mean, maybe that's the way we were raised. I don't know what it is, Eve, but
that's a part of it, I think, because back in the day we didn't have that much technology. We had activities to do outdoors. Now these kids don't want to be outdoors. They want to be secluded in 4 walls in their bedroom, and the parents are fine with it because now they don't have to keep an eye on them. They don't have to worry about being out and running in the streets.
The worst
what they should worry about is this worse. There's predators in this thing.
Well, I mean, the
it's
social.
Not funny, but I'm just parents.
No, but you know what, Eve? The social skills that we see young people coming to our office, it is abominable. The social skills and the manners, out the door, out the window. We have a big sign at the office when people are coming in to meet with us. Please turn off your cell phone and put it away. If I see it, I will tell you to put it away.
That's
We
good.
had people, young people come in with their parent to an appointment to do an intake, and the parent doesn't say anything about them having their cell phone out. Oh, well, that's kind of their that's what they use to distress. Well, okay, you can't be doing that on a job. If you're
That's
coming here
right.
to learn
You're not
to find a
preparing
job,
them.
you
Mhm.
cannot do that at a job. So
Right.
if that's their distressor, I'm sorry, they are not ready for community integrated employment. And unfortunately, we have to say that sometimes.
Wow.
When someone says, "Well, I only like working. I get up at noon." Well, most jobs, most people hire, to come work in the morning.
Mhm.
75% of employee or job is work in the morning and you get off in the afternoon. Unless you're going to work at a dining room, restaurant in the evening, well, that's different, right?
In some
But
cases, you can't have your phone out either because you're dealing with food.
no, you're dealing with food, you're dealing with customers, you're cleaning tables, you're bussing the
Mhm.
tables. I mean, you're dealing with people. And so the people skills that some of our young people have, out the window. No regards for complete disregard for adults. And so I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but that's something that needs to be worked on. If you have a behavioralist, we need to address that. Or the foul language that we hear.
Ugh.
So these young people, where do they hear this? They hear it at home.
They hear it at
They-
home, they hear it at school. Some teachers talk like that too. Some police officers or security guards talk like that too.
yeah, yeah,
People think that others are not listening. I'm one of those that hears everything because I need to see how these kids are being taught, treated,
yes.
and taken care of. The triple
So we
T's.
we were working with the client, right? And you know what? An individual can have a brain injury and have, certain parts of their brain that function, of course, depending on where the brain injury occurred. But if that individual hears you and the whole family talking, you know, talking negatively about other cultures, talking negatively about females, you know, and they go to the workplace, right? And they hear someone making a comment or something, they will add on information.
Oh, for sure. Like that Chinese
Now
communication.
they got fired. They got fired for repeating what they heard at home, and coworkers felt uncomfortable, and 10 people reported this individual, and the individual got fired.
Jeez.
Okay, so I think it is part of our responsibility as it is part of our community, right? I was at church this morning. There's a little girl sitting in front of us, and the little sister's next to her. The sister's wearing a dress, and the little girl is facing us. Look, the little girl who then lifts the sister's dress
Oh my.
and starts laughing. And the little sister, like the other sister, gets mad. And the little one that did the lifting of the dress, she looks at us laughing. And I said, "No, no, 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 no." And she stopped. But see, someone has to say something,
Like, were their
right?
parents sitting there? Hello?
The dad was there by himself with the two little ones, the two little girls, but she
Wow.
understood. Okay, she understood quite well what she was doing, right? And she knew that she was going to make the sister mad because the sister got really mad. And so when she sees me, I said, "Oh, no, 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 no." So then, but I didn't say it loud. She just saw me, like, and me moving my face.
Right,
No, no,
right,
no, no, no. And
right.
so, yeah, and then so the dad turned around and he saw what she was doing, and then the dad reprimanded her too.
Mm.
But he grabbed her from the hand and he put her on his other side. So
Well, that's good. He
that
did
is
something.
that is what's being aware, right? That is what's being aware of what if you don't nip it right away when they're little, they're just gonna keep doing it, thinking
They're
it's
gonna keep
funny.
doing it. And then what's worse is they get in trouble and it's not really their fault.
No,
They
because
were
no
taught
one
that.
guided them.
No one
No one,
corrected
no
them.
one corrected them. Exactly. So
Wow.
Um, so yeah, so we work with, like I said, the students with IEPs. We have all levels of individuals with IEPs that come and apply for services. And some of them were very successful, have become very successful individuals in the community, right? Working in all different kinds of jobs, and others who, you know what, we're trying to get there, right? We're still trying. And we need a little longer time, maybe. We do have repeat, so we never say no to someone if we are. If they've come to us 2 or 3 or 4 times, we can never say no. We are always there to try to assist and help. So.
And on that note, for those of you that are joining us here, Real Talk with E.V.E, this is wonderful Martina Lozano Tovar that it's very giving. And when I mean giving, as she'll go that extra mile to help a family. And I'm not just talking about the Latino families, which is great that she is one of few in the entire state that works under this agency that speaks Spanish. Am I correct? Or did we get more people?
Well, we have a couple. Like in my office, I have two others, but only one of them works directly with clients, like I do too. With cases, and then I'm the only Latina supervisor in voc rehab in the state.
See, I was right. Just wow. State of Indiana, you need to get with a program. We need to talk to the legislators. We need to talk to the political candidates that are running for the governor's seat, because I know we talked to Holcomb. He can't do anything in the future because he's done.
Yeah.
Right. And this is something that if you are a political candidate that has something to do with education, this is the things that you need to really learn also. Don't do it because you have kids in the system. Do it because it's your position to do so. Change downstate. And I know that there's a lot of things that are happening. So educators, parents, I heard that they're trying to pass a bill, if it hasn't already, in the assembly down in the General Assembly about cell phones. I was applauding when I heard that it's no cell phones allowed, period. And I frown when a school has that no cell phone zone, and all of a sudden I see cell phones in the classrooms. Are we defeating the purpose here? Are we like contradicting what we want and not enforce it? It's all or none. Don't say, well, there was a good day for them and we let them use the phone. And that's how it starts. Just like the children at home, you let them continue to do it. Guess what? They're going to get away with it every time. And then they're going to fight you.
But, and I think that anything that if a student's allowed a laptop, any of the schools that work with laptops and the student has a laptop, if you need to access something on the internet, right, you don't need your phone. Use the laptop.
No, you get the Chromebook or laptop. That's what is there. And you have the free internet and you don't have to worry about using your data from your cell phone. You don't need a cell phone. So I have shown Martina on the bottom your phone number. Is that a direct line or do they need to ask for you? There is your email as well, martina.tovar@fssa.in.gov. Is that a direct line for you or do they need to call and ask for you?
So that's our office number. So they can ask and they can transfer them to my voicemail. But if someone is interested and knows about our services, that's the number you would call also to apply for services for an intake appointment. We are booked out right now all the way through, I think we are midway through. No, we're probably, I think, booked through the end of March already. So,
no. And so what type of things does a client need to contact you? What type of
so they can just call us. They can just call us and say, hey, either a parent can call or a guardian or the individual themselves if they don't have a parent or guardian, and say, hey, I'm looking for assistance through vocational rehabilitation. I have a disability. They ask you to state your disability and your personal information. Then they send out an appointment letter with all the documents that you need to bring with you. A work permit, a social security card, a driver's license if you drive already, and all the medical records, current medical records with a diagnosis is what you're asked to bring if you have them available. If not, at the appointment, they ask that you sign some consents for disclosure to the doctors that you are currently seeing or who have diagnosed you with whatever your disabilities are. And we send those consents and they send us the medical records if you don't have them in hand.
once that person goes in, what are they actually looking for? Is it to get services for that client that has the disabilities, to find them a
Yes.
job within that wherever field they may be able to fit in?
Yes,
Just so
correct.
people understand.
So somebody may not know, somebody may not know what they really want to do or what they're capable of doing. So we start with a service called Discovery. Once they're made eligible, determined eligible, so we have 2 months, 60 days to make that person determine the eligibility of that individual, and based on their diagnoses. And then they get assigned to a counselor. They'll meet with a counselor to discuss, you know, do you have work experience? What type of work are you looking to do? Are you thinking of going back to school? Are you thinking of going to school or continuing school? Because we do have some individuals who started school and then they became ill, and now have one or several functional limitations. And now they want to return back to school and see if they can, and continue their studies or identify some other career path, to get them to a vocational goal. So that's really the job that the counselor then has at hand. Oh, sorry.
Otra vez. Keep it stable,
Um,
Martina.
sorry.
That's no problem.
Um, but that's really kind of what counselor then is working with the participant to identify what it is that they're going to. And we do that first service of discovery where they identify which provider they'd like to work with, right? Goodwill. If they live in Newton County, we work with an organization called Lirio, and or Opportunity Enterprise, or Tradewinds, or Planning Possibilities. So we allow them to make that choice. That is the choice of the client to say, this is who I want to work with me. And they put a whole plan together of whether discovery is what it is, discovering what it is or they can't do, and with their limitations.
So,
And then,
I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no,
And
no,
then
no, go
no,
ahead.
no, I wanted to go into the español. So, si hay padres de familia que tienen hijos con discapacidades, pero quizá tengan la habilidad de hacer un tipo de trabajo, van contigo y ya de ahí empieza el descubrimiento, la investigación para ver en dónde pueden caer, en qué tipo de trabajo, ¿no?
Sí, para ver qué es lo que pueden hacer. Salen, ya cuando los hacemos elegibles para los servicios, los determinamos elegibles, la familia o la persona escoge con quién quieren trabajar en la comunidad para identificar y descubrir qué sí es lo que pueden hacer, ¿verdad? Ya sea, tenemos gente que no puede levantar cosas, tenemos gente que no sabe cómo manejar la registradora, caja registradora. Tenemos personas que tienen alergias y no pueden trabajar en ciertos sitios. Tienen a lo mejor dificultad con las manos, de manipulación, ¿verdad? Que le llaman manipulation. Entonces, las personas trabajan con la organización con la que escogieron. Si esa persona no habla muy bien el inglés o no entiende bien el inglés, nosotros podemos contratar un servicio de traducción para que puedan estar a todas las veces, cualquier oportunidad que hay para ellos que necesitan verse con el proveedor de servicios, va a haber un traductor, alguien que
Perfecto.
traduzca.
Y aquí están viendo en la pantalla el número de teléfono para comunicarse aquí con la señora Martina Lozano Tovar, 219-981-5326, o al correo electrónico martina.tovar@fssa.in.gov. There's also the website if they want to see exactly what you guys are doing, right? So it's .in.gov/VRS. If you'd like to just go into the website itself and explore, right? To learn more about the
Yes.
agency itself. So, with that, Martina, thank you so much. An hour has gone by like, I mean, this information is so needed, and I'm hoping that people will actually get this information, but also disseminate it, pass it to others, and that educators were also going to be looked at more now from downstate, from the Indiana Department of Education, and will be held accountable. And I know some of you don't like that, but that is too bad, because we all need to be okay to be held accountable, and we should want that
Mm-hmm.
and hold others accountable on that note. But Martina, thank you so much for coming on here on Real Talk with E.V.E. So I'm sure I'm going to bring you back, because there's different type of topics we can talk about, uh, based on the things that we see in the community and how we are helping improve some of those things, right?
Definitely. Thank you for
Thank you so
having.
much. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Stay behind. I'll be back. Thank you. Wow. That information, I hope that you has taken heed to what you heard, has taken notes. I'm a note taker, especially when I'm trying to learn new things and get some information. I'm definitely going to be taking notes, and I hope that you did. Espero que esta información la compartan con otros, y la difunden para otros lugares, que las familias sepan. This is the very first, I won't say the first bilingual talk that I did, but this is more Spanish and English, because this information was so important. Lo hice en español y en inglés porque creo que es muy importante que ambas familias, la que hablan inglés y la que hablan español, debe de saber esta información. So with that, guys, it is already 9:02. So thank you for joining me. I know it's a Sunday for you, and got to get ready for tomorrow morning, right? To start the work week. So with that, please to you, God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I'll be back with Real Talk with E.V.E. next Sunday. We'll see what else I can bring here for you. Until next time, have a good night.